remember the night the stars went out. It was a Thursday. Cold, dry air. I'd been up at the Kepler Ridge Observatory for 16 hours straight, running spectral calibrations that had nothing to do with wonder, just the usual grind of astronomy. I remember leaning back in my chair, rubbing my eyes, and glancing through the dome's open slit. That's when it happened. First one, then another, then an entire constellation blinked out. At first, I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. Maybe my vision had gone weird from staring at screens too long, but the blackout spread fast, like a wave rolling across the sky. Orion vanished. Vega, Arcturus, every familiar point of light, gone. Within minutes, the sky was empty. Just a hollow black canvas above me. I didn't breathe for nearly a minute. My first thought was that my telescope array had shorted out, but the global feeds lit up seconds later. Messages from every observatory, every satellite station, every amateur astronomer on the planet. Do you see this? Our sky just went dark. Every star gone. And that's when I knew it wasn't a malfunction. The stars had been taken from us. They called it the Great Blackout. Governments tried to calm people down. NASA held emergency conferences. Theories flooded social media. Everything from dark matter shifts to divine judgment. None of them made sense. Stars don't just disappear, not all at once. For the first time in recorded history, humanity stood under a truly black sky. Even the moon looked wrong, pale and distant without the background shimmer of infinity behind it. It was like looking at the end of creation. I didn't sleep for days. I sat in the observatory monitoring instruments that had nothing left to monitor. The spectral lines were blank, the radiation maps flat. It was like staring into the heartbeat of the universe and hearing nothing. Then came the first anomaly. About 10 months after the blackout began, one of the old deep sky scanners picked up a flicker. It was faint but steady. A small pulse of light from the region where Vega used to be. I remember the moment vividly. I was half asleep at my desk, half dreaming of the stars I'd lost. Then the console beeped. The pulse came in slow, rhythmic beats, 3 quick flashes, a pause, 2 more. At first, I thought it was noise, some stray reflection or cosmic ray, but it repeated, over and over. A signal. I recorded everything, ran the data through translation filters. The pattern was too regular to be natural, binary, but not random code. It was deliberate. When I graphed the intervals, it formed a rhythm, a perfect heartbeat. And for the first time in a year, I felt something other than grief. Someone, or something, was still out there. I called the signal Starlight 1. Over the next month, more signals appeared, all from dark sectors where stars had once shone. Each one pulsed the same way, faint, rhythmic, alive. That's when the idea hit me. The stars hadn't died. They'd been hidden. I brought the data to the Scientific Council. They called it atmospheric interference, statistical coincidence, emotional projection. But EVE01, the observatory's onboard AI, didn't agree. Eve was programmed for cold logic, yet her analysis came back with a statement that chilled me.
Dr. Renn, the light suppression patterns across the Milky Way match artificial interference, energy profiles consistent with interstellar cloaking fields.
Cloaking? I asked.
Correct. Stars are not extinguished. They are masked.
I stared at her display, speechless. Someone had turned the galaxy off. A month later, we discovered why. The long-range probes beyond the Kuiper Belt picked up distortions, gravitational waves that didn't behave like anything we'd seen before. They weren't random. They were moving in a straight line, cutting through space like a blade. The signal didn't come from the galactic core. It came from the void beyond. Something was coming toward us. EVE-01 analyzed the trajectory and whispered something I'll never forget.
Doctor, the anomaly is feeding.
We called it the Devourer, an invisible region of total absorption, moving at a crawl through the galaxy. Everywhere it passed, stars vanished, planets froze. The energy readings were beyond comprehension. Entire suns drained of radiation in seconds. It wasn't a black hole. It wasn't a natural event. It was something alive. And it was coming for us. The blackout wasn't chaos. It was a defense. Someone, or something, had hidden the galaxy from the Devourer's sight. Every star turned off, every world masked under a veil of silence. It was camouflage on a scale we'd never imagined possible. The galaxy was holding its breath, and we were a small, fragile part of it. Then, 3 years after the blackout began, we made first contact. It happened in orbit. A swarm of objects appeared beyond Mars, faint metallic shapes that shimmered like reflections on water. The world panicked, of course. Governments launched probes, weapons, anything that could give them an edge. But the objects didn't attack. They formed patterns. Hexagonal formations that spanned thousands of kilometers, moving with surgical precision. I'd seen those frequencies before, the faint golden wavelengths embedded in the cloaking data. They were the same. I uploaded my telescope data into EVE-01, cross-referenced it, and she confirmed it.
Dr. Renn, cloaking resonance confirmed. Signal source, the Elyndrians.
That was the first time I heard their name. They didn't speak in words, not at first. Communication came through light, modulated frequencies translated through EVA systems. Slowly, painfully, we pieced together fragments of meaning. The Elyndrians weren't invaders, they were guardians. They had built the cloaking network, an array of quantum mirrors and gravity webs that masked entire solar systems. They'd hidden the suns because the Devourer hunted by radiation, seeking the warmth of life and light. Their purpose wasn't to save hope or faith or spirit, it was to protect biological life, the rare chemical spark that survived in scattered corners of the galaxy. The Elyndrians were engineers, not angels, but they cared. And that was enough. When the Devourer reached our system, the sun dimmed to a pale white disk. Temperatures dropped worldwide. Crops died. Panic spread again. But the Elyndrians arrived before it did. They deployed massive structures in orbit, shimmering lattices that folded space like glass. Through telescopes, they looked like silver wings stretching across the planets. The air shimmered, shadows rippled, and then nothing. The sun vanished completely. We lived through the second blackout in fear. Without sunlight, half the world froze. The other half burned its last oil to survive. But deep in the darkness, the Elyndrians fought. We saw glimpses through the sensors, ripples of energy, distortions of light. Then came the low-frequency waves, rolling through the planet like distant thunder. Each pulse was massive, the size of a solar flare. EVE-01 whispered updates in my ear.
Engagement detected. Defensive arrays holding. Gravitational displacement at 8%. Devourer approaching threshold. Doctor, brace for field collapse.
And then it happened. The ground shook. Air turned electric. The Devourer had reached us. Every radio band screamed with static. Gravity twisted, pulling oceans upward in silent, shimmering walls. Through the last functioning telescope, I saw it, not with clarity, but with the horror of recognition. It wasn't an object, it was a shadow, a living distortion stretching across space, like the absence of everything that ever was. And against that void, the Elyndrians shone like a wall of light. They weren't ships, they were alive, or something close to it. Massive biomechanical beings woven from metal and energy. Each one radiated gold through the dark. They fired bursts of collapsing space, tearing holes through the void, forcing the Devourer back. But for every strike, the darkness adapted, reforming, spreading. It fed on everything. Even light screamed when it touched it. For 3 days, the sky trembled. Every mountain and ocean vibrated from the gravitational resonance. Then, suddenly, silence. EVE-01 spoke softly.
The Devourer retreats. Defensive success confirmed.
I collapsed to the floor, shaking, crying without realizing it. We'd survived the impossible. The Elyndrians had saved us. Weeks later, the sun returned, faint and filtered through a shimmering veil. The Elyndrian technology was still active, wrapping the system in a kind of adaptive shell. Earth began to warm again. Crops sprouted in thawing soil. Humanity crawled back into the light. The governments called it a cosmic anomaly. But those of us who saw the truth knew better. We'd been hidden, protected, by beings who understood the stakes better than we ever could. They'd fought for us, not because we were special, but because life itself mattered. Every cell, every breath, every fragile, flickering world. The Elyndrians never revealed themselves again. Their ships drifted toward the edge of the system, fading back into the dark, like embers cooling after a fire. But the traces of their presence remained. The sun still pulses faintly every few hours, modulated at frequencies too high for human perception. When I filter the signal through the observatory speakers, I can still hear it. A quiet pattern of light and shadow. 3 pulses. Pause. 2. The same heartbeat I first detected from Vega. Their message hasn't changed. Remain hidden. Life endures. Years have passed now. The world has rebuilt. Children are born who never knew a night sky without fear. Sometimes they ask me what it was like. The darkness, the silence, the feeling of being hunted by something we couldn't see. And I tell them the truth, and it was terrifying, it was lonely, but it was also beautiful. Because in the middle of that endless night, we learned something that changed everything. We are not alone, and not every shadow hides a monster. Some hide protectors. I still live at the Kepler Observatory. The power grid is old and the winters are brutal, but I can't bring myself to leave. Every clear night, I climb the ridge, sit on the cold metal railing and look up. The stars are back. But I know I'm not really seeing them. Each point of light is filtered through Elyndrian technology, carefully adjusted so it looks natural, harmless. It's camouflage. We live under a false sky, but I'm okay with that, because the real one is still out there, hidden, waiting, alive. Sometimes late at night, I ask EVE-01 to replay the old transmission from the Elyndrians. Their voice, if you can call it that, is soft, metallic, and ancient beyond comprehension.
The predator sleeps. The suns remain hidden. You are safe. For now.
Then silence. Always silence. I don't know where the Devourer is now. Maybe it fled back into the void between galaxies. Maybe it's still hunting somewhere beyond our sight. But if it ever returns, I know they'll come too. The Elyndrians, the engineers of the dark, the ones who turned off the stars to save us. We didn't survive because we were strong. We survived because someone cared enough to keep the lights off until it was safe to turn them back on. This is Dr. Ilya Renn, Kepler Ridge Observatory. The stars are hidden no longer. The suns are safe. And somewhere beyond them, the Elyndrians still stand watch, protecting life from the dark.